Hello, my name is RJ. I'll be presenting on the abolition of slavery. My paper is on that. I'm going to say it right now because I know I'll mess up some of the words, and I'm sorry in advance. But this first slide is going to be on the leaders of Haitian Revolution. The Haitian Revolution was led by powerful figures like Toussaint Louverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who proved that enslaved people could fight with discipline, win, and govern themselves. Their military victories defeated French, Spanish, and British forces, forcing the world to recognize Haiti's strength. Louverture's leadership inspired global abolition movements, while Dessalines secured independence in 1804 and permanently abolished slavery in Haiti. Their success made Haiti the first independent black nation and showed the other enslaved people that freedom was possible. On this next slide, I'll be talking about British political abolitionists. British abolitionists such as William Wilberforce and Thomas Clarkson were central to ending the transatlantic slave trade. Wilberforce used his political power and moral arguments to convince Parliament to change the law. Clarkson traveled across Britain collecting evidence of the trade's cruelty and exposing its horrors to the public. Together, their efforts led to the Slave Trade Act of 1807 and set the foundation of ending slavery across British Empire. On this next slide, we'll be talking about early British legal challenges to slavery. Granville Sharp played a key role in early legal battles against slavery in Britain. His involvement in the Somerset case in 1772 resulted in a ruling that slavery could not be enforced under English law. In Scotland, the Joseph Knight case similarly concluded that slavery had no legal basis. These legal victories weakened the institution of slavery and strengthened abolitionist argument across the British Isles. And then on the next slide, we will be talking about writers and intellectuals who influenced the abolition. Several influential writers helped shift public opinion against slavery. Aldous Aquinas' autobiography provided a first-hand account of the Middle Passage and inspired thousands of readers. Enlightenment thinkers like Abbe Raynal criticized colonial slavery and promoted human equality. Harriet Martineau used her sociological writings to argue for justice and equality, further fueling reform movements in Europe and America. In the next slide, I'll be talking about abolition in French territories. France experienced multiple shifts in its stance on slavery in 1794. During the French Revolution, the National Convention abolished slavery in French colonies. Napoleon later reinstated slavery in 1802, causing intense resistance in places like Saint-Domingue. Finally, in 1848, Victor Schuyler led the successful effort to abolish slavery permanently, freeing over 250,000 people and granting them citizenship. In this next slide, it will be on early international moves against the slave trade. Several nations took early steps to limit or end the slave trade. Denmark became the first European country to ban the transatlantic slave trade in 1803. Britain's 1807 ban ended in its participation in the trade and was enforced by the Royal Navy. These actions encouraged other nations to follow and signaled the beginning of worldwide pressure to end tracking of enslaved people. On this next slide, we'll be talking about abolition in the British Empire and colonies. The Slavery Abolition Act of 1833 ended slavery throughout most of British Empire, freeing over 800,000 enslaved people. Although an apprenticeship system delayed full freedom, it marked one of the largest emancipations in world history. In India, the 1843 Slavery Act made slavery illegal and enforceable under colonial law. These reforms expanded British anti-slavery influence across multiple continents. Abolition movements in Latin America. Sorry, I forgot to push the next slide. But as you heard, I said it's about abolition movements in Latin America. Many Latin American countries ended slavery in the 19th century as part of their independence movements. Chile abolished slavery in 1823, viewing freedom as essential to its identity. Puerto Rico ended slavery in 1873 after years of uprisings and activism. Brazil became the last country in the Americas to abolish slavery in 1888 when Princess Isabel signed the Golden Law, freeing nearly 700,000 people. I absolutely love this topic and everything about it. It's so interesting. The next slide will be about abolition in the Middle East, Africa. During the 19th century, the Ottoman Empire began reforms that restricted the slave trade and closed major slave markets. Persia also faced international pressure and ensued decrees against the buying and selling of enslaved people. The East African slave trade declined after treaties like the 1873 agreement with Zanzibar to end the trade. These efforts marked important steps in regions where slavery had existed for centuries. Centuries, guys. My last slide will be talking about the 20th century abolition, ending slavery in the modern era. Some nations did not abolish slavery until the 20th century. Saudi Arabia officially abolished slavery in 1962 under King Faisal, influenced by modernization efforts and global pressure. Yemen also ended slavery in 1962 after the formation of Yemen Arab Republic. Although enforcement was slow, Mediterranean became the last country to officially abolish slavery in 1981, later criminalizing it in 2007. Late abolitions showed that slavery legacy persisted far longer than many people realize. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening, and I really loved learning about this topic, and that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, thank you for listening. Bye bye.